went to the Queen to tell her her subjects had no bread. Do you know what she said?
Let them eat cake.
Who took the bomb?
We're getting screwed, man. Every time we turn around, we're getting screwed. Oh, the revolution's going to be through podcasting for sure. That's the only way we talk. It's the little guys that take the brunt of everything. It's got to stop. Peasants, man. We're just peasants. Every one of us. You watch those old movies, you see the peasants in the background with the kings and queens walking around. We're those people. We're those people.
Good morning, peasants. Welcome to another episode of The Peasant's Perspective. I feel like my TV angle's like, I don't know, it feels weird on me.
It's only weird when you look at it.
Yeah, that's probably it. That's like, ooh, hey. So you had a poor weekend. You were sick all weekend.
Ugh, yeah.
I had a crazy weekend. Not that there was anything crazy about it per se, except the internet was crazy.
Oh.
It was like a bonkers weekend. We'll get into it a little bit. Good morning, Pony Boy. Welcome. Glad you made it. Give people a couple minutes to tag on in here. So I went to a men's group on Friday night in Everett. Got invited out to this thing. Gosh, it was awesome. There was probably like 15, 20 men that showed up. We were just in a coffee shop after it closed. And then afterwards made our way over to Applebee's and have a little after talk. But the inside of this group, it's mostly Snohomish County guys, a couple guys out of King County. But they just recently won the mayor seat in Snohomish. And I think that's where they said they were, in Snohomish. And also 2 of the council seats. And they ran 4 council members. There were 4 seats that up, and they tried to run them as a slate and had some pretty good success.
How many councilmen do they have?
I don't know.
8 or 9?
I mean, this is making a big difference. They said George Soros identified that going after the little towns and taking over the little towns was like totally possible. He said, we're out here in like a conservative community and we have this far left board and mayor. And so they just decided to take it back. And now they're going to work on the Republican Party of Snohomish County.
On that same topic, I just saw a post this morning that said something to the effect that about half of the city council and the city manager for Bainbridge Island just jettisoned. They're gone.
Really?
And the locals are ecstatic.
Government shutdown. Yay!
But hold on. Get tempered here, because all these people are saying so much nonsense. It's funny because they just don't understand local governance or anything.
Nothing.
And so they just start, talking about all their Christmas wish list stuff that is just nonsense. It's like, well, finally we can stop growth in this county. It's like, maybe you don't really understand growth management.
And you don't really understand what the growth is doing for you. Pretty sure you won't be in such a nice place if we're not growing. So Scott Jennings on CNN, he wrote a new book called Common Sense about Donald Trump. And we'll let him talk about that, because kind of like what you're saying here, the whole council, a lot of people don't know what's going on with civics. And I'll be frank, when Donald Trump came into office the first time, he was not surrounded by some good people. He did a lot better job this second time.
Everyone, mark
Common sense. That's right. It's time to shill for your book here. Stormed Washington and fought for Western civilization. Here's a quote. The era of the scripted politician is over, and the ones who succeed in the future will authentically speak in their own minds instead of someone else's. Trump blazed a trail, and it will be fascinating to see if anyone in either party can ever approach replicating the connection he has with his people. What's the answer to that question?
Well, I don't think you'll ever be able to replicate Donald Trump. Carrying the coalition forward, will be left to others. But replicating this moment, replicating the last 10 years, replicating the authenticity, he has changed politics, he's changed media. And frankly, what the book is about is that he revolutionized governing. When he came into this Trump 2.0 term, he picked the right team. They had a plan. I mean, he really hit Washington before it got out of bed in the morning, and he hasn't really stopped. The book, I picked out a lot of topics where he just, they knew what they wanted to do. They apologized to no one. They waited for no one. They don't respect old arrangements. And most people that I know that voted for him can't believe how much he's been able to get done.
Yeah. He's gotten a ton done. And this weekend, between the Epstein thing last week and the Marjorie Taylor Greene thing this weekend, there's a lot of people that are losing sight of what Trump has done.
Yes, and myself included.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that is because we don't realize what he's up against. Okay. All the things he has to fix and has said he would fix.
If you want to think about what he's up against, all you have to do is look at a picture of Kash Patel's eyes.
So this is a Fox News report, and this is about the missing kids, the 450,000 kids, unaccompanied minors that came across the border just in the last 4 years. So nothing is rapid, right? I think the last report I heard, it was somewhere between 15 and 20,000 kids have been recovered. And now, after the big, beautiful bill, the funding has been put in place. They've hired enough people. Now we're starting to get, up till now, it's been just get who you can grab, go after the hardcore illegals, go after the kids that have complaints on file or whatever. But now they're going to do knocking checks on all these kids.
A brand new operation to conduct welfare checks on the 450,000 children that the Biden administration placed with unvetted sponsors, some of whom were sex traffickers, gang members, and abusers. The Trump administration has already located more than 24,400 children, and some of these stories are absolutely heartbreaking, like this one. A 1-year-old unaccompanied minor crossed the border during the Obama administration. Little girl is now 12 years old. During her 11 years in America, she lived with a series of relatives and endured horrifying abuse. According to Fox's Brooke Taylor, she was found in the custody of 2 sisters who have now been arrested. The 12-year-old was found, quote, with injuries all over her body, extreme malnutrition, and an infected gash on her head and zip ties around her wrist. Among those who abused this innocent child were her one-time sponsor, a distant uncle that she was placed with in 2024, despite being an illegal immigrant with a criminal conviction. That sponsor, that alleged abuser, was given temporary protected status by the Biden administration. Why? Here is video that Brooke Taylor obtained of the Trump administration arresting that man just yesterday. This is just one of the nearly 500,000 children that the Trump administration is seeking to protect.
So it goes on. I mean, they're basically going to finally go try to track down these kids. And again, it comes down to most of the problems that we have in our country center around a couple key nodes. Institutional corruption then causes, bad policy because people start to self-serve. So here's an example of self-serving. This is in the banking, right? This is another chairman of the Federal Reserve. This is one of the governors, not Lisa Cook. Senator Tim Scott issued the following statement on the new reporting that a former Federal Reserve governor, I guess this is a former, violated the Fed's trading rules, underscoring the urgent need for meaningful reform and restored integrity at our central bank. And he said, every time the Federal Reserve faces an ethics scandal, it chips away at America's confidence in one of our most important institutions. The latest report makes clear that the Fed still doesn't have the guardrails or culture of accountability the American people expect. The next Fed chair must restore integrity, strengthen transparency, and end the pattern of insiders playing by their own rules. Reform isn't optional. It's essential if the Fed is going to fully regain the trust it has lost. Chairman Tim Scott. Now, some people would say, why do you allow this to continue? Listen, if there's accusations being made on the public, I promise you other national insiders, as in the banks in London and the big investing sheiks in Saudi Arabia and EUA, know that these people are corrupt and know they can be bought. And that's the thing that we see over and over and over and over again. Right.
Is that why MBS is coming to America this week?
Why is he coming? Oh, sure he's coming.
No, I said, is that why he's
probably coming to buy some F-35s, to be honest. But this all stems from stuff like this. So this was just in this last election here a couple weeks ago, caught on video, someone running for mayor stuffing ballots.
Obtained by Local 4 shows a black pickup truck pulling up outside Hamtramck City Hall in the middle of the night, just days before the primary election. All of a sudden, the lights turn on inside the truck. That's when you spot 3 men inside, including what appears to be Council Member Abu Musa in the back seat, the same council member who is seeking re-election right now. The video then shows the driver getting out and stuffing absentee ballots into the drop box. The only problem? They don't all fit. He then starts pushing them in before reaching for 2 more stacks. The whole time looking around to see if anyone is watching. After about 2 minutes, the group drives away. And get this, Local 4 found that it happened again, only 4 days later. This time, a different car pulling up with what appears to be the same council member in the passenger seat. He then starts handing bundles of ballots to the driver, dropping off 3 large stacks. City election results show Musa received 1,129 votes during the primary, making him the top contender for city council in November.
Whoa, when you got stacks so thick you can't shove them in the envelope. That's the kind, it's like, didn't happen. You know, they're just the Democrats. Doesn't happen. Nope, that one, guys, he's a Republican. It's like, so when you're up against that, right? When you've got an executive branch power that can be so powerful, when the executive branch itself covers up for corruption for all 3 branches of government, and it's all the way down to the city councilman is stuffing ballots with impunity, right? It's one thing if you're running for like Senate and you think you have the FBI in your back pocket, but when you're running for city council, do you know how brazen you have to be? You know what I mean? There's so many layers of authority above that could take you out. What that tells me is they were taught to do it, and council members and people even at the lowest little level in a primary have been cheating forever. Right? It's way more complicated than bringing a bus full of college kids from a different college town out to some rural county to vote. This is like, you're not even going through the effort of bringing human bodies. You're bringing ballots.
This is the way.
This is the way. Now imagine a system that was set up to protect all these different types of corruption, right? Everything from the most nefarious stuff you can imagine, children being trafficked across the border, all the way down to just little contracts for this, that, or the other, right? This is why on MSNBC this weekend on Morning Joe, I think this was Friday, Morning Joe, they were just terrified about the lawfare because the office of the president has become so powerful. And, you know, presidents don't just give up their power. And imagine knowing this. Trump's only been in office 9 months, right? You guys have had this power. So everything you're complaining about just validates exactly why Trump's back in office and why the American people wanted him back there is because he's the only one we trust with this power.
That is ruling as if it's never going to lose power. This is a movement that is ruling as if all of the precedents it sets will only apply to the other side. And that is an incredibly dangerous assumption. We're going to have
again, anytime we watch something from these MSNBC shows, think projection.
Yeah.
They only apply to the other side. Only we can do lawfare.
Right.
Oh my gosh, you know, you can't operate thinking only you are going to be the winner.
Election in 2028. And if the Republicans succeed in remaking the presidency and Republicans in Congress allow the remaking of the presidency, that's going to make every president we have from this point forward more dangerous than the president that preceded them, because they're just going to become more and more and more powerful. So we're at a moment here, I think, Joe, where the American constitutional order needs to reassert itself. And that constitutional order is supposed to put Congress first amongst the branches, not uncheckable.
What?
Congress can still be checked, but it's Article 1 for a reason. But right now it's as if it doesn't exist, as if it's handing everything over to a president, and as if they think that that president will always be hospitable to them, and that president is always going to be supporting them. No, when you set these precedents, when you allow a president to get this powerful, you can't control what comes after. It is so short-sighted. It's remarkably dangerous.
It is. So one of the things you have to recognize here, and remember, we've reported on this, Patrick Byrne has mentioned it, others have mentioned it, is the Democrats are planning, if they ever come back in power, which they believe they will, they're going to go full bore.
They're going to run the board.
They're going to run the board. No filibuster, pack the court, couple new states, Trump in jail, all his friends in jail, his family in jail, all his supporters in jail, probably get rid. In fact, I don't know if we'll get
use all the new seats to control Congress and the Senate.
Getting rid of the presidential pardon, right? It could get kind of rough. So in a landscape where it's becoming increasingly zero sum, these guys are projecting like, yeah, if we get power back, which is also explaining all the political attacks.
So dangerous. And Jim Van, once presidents get power, It's not like the next president voluntarily gives it up. So again, these are the extraordinarily dangerous precedents where you have a president tweeting something and a couple of hours later, an attorney general jumps to attention and says, yes, I will now begin an investigation against a former president from another party.
Are you talking about Joe Biden's?
I agree with the level of concern on all of those and the dangers of the precedent. I will say, if you want to have an optimistic take on it, the American people are watching this. They are making a judgment. Look at what happened in New Jersey. Look at what happened in Virginia. Look at poll after poll about what's happening with Hispanic voters. It looks like in some of them you see a 20 to 30 point swing away from Donald Trump. Look what happened in Indiana and Missouri, where they tried to bully the legislature to do redistricting, and a couple of Republicans stood up and said, hell no, we're not going to do it. Look at topic after topic that Trump ran on and then kind of legislated and governed differently, and you see him underwater by 20 to 30 points.
Jim, this is what I don't understand. Like every member of the House, every member of the Senate, they have to know their election is coming up in less than a year. And you look at Mikey Sherrill, somebody who even Democrats said ran a terrible race. That's what they said. It's not what I'm saying, Governor-elect. That's what they said. She won by like 12, 13 points. You look at Virginia, every single county broke against Trump, broke for Republicans. You look at Bucks County, Pennsylvania, historic local elections. Chris Matthews saying entire county commissions going Democratic probably for the first time in 100 years. You look at what happened in California. I mean, we could go on and on and on about what's happening across the country.
The Democrats are doing the classic, don't do what we do.
I have a question, teacher.
Yeah.
What did they say? I can't listen to these people anymore. I have no idea what they were talking about. I mean, the whole time he was talking, I just kept thinking about the projection thing and the Democrats. And it's like, everything you guys just said, if we applied it like 9 months ago, it would be like a nightmare.
Yeah. Dude, they play dirty.
Yeah.
They play dirty.
And the other thing is, who was that other guy talking? What's Axios?
Axios is HBO's big news brand.
Okay. Well, why are we listening to that guy?
Well, they're in the middle of a lot of news.
Oh.
Yeah, Axios is, I mean, I hate to say credible. They're right up there with the rest of the fake news. But if you're ever reading a Wall Street Journal headline or a New York Times, then Axios is right in there.
Okay.
So let's look at Trump's Truth Social, because this weekend got a little weird. Seriously, it got a little weird. Whoa. So I got to scroll back a little bit here because we're going to start with all the drama. Because boy, oh boy, did he dump some drama.
That's what we need more of.
Yeah. So first and foremost, the first thing he did was he directed Pam Bondi to go ahead and start investigating.
Let me know when you're ready.
All right, I got to make sure. Yeah, he's prolific. He tweets or truths so much. So he posted, let's see, where is it? He posts so much it gets lost. And then he follows up and posts something similar but different.
Democrats want you to forget all about this.
So he posted about Jeffrey Epstein. So the first thing he said was this. He said, now that the Democrats are using the Epstein hoax involving Democrats, not Republicans, to try to deflect from their disastrous shutdown and all of their other failures, the timing of it just prior to the shutdown, Trump drew a picture and sent it to Epstein for his birthday in 2000 something, right? And Trump was like, we're shutting down. We got to get the budget right? We go through the shutdown, and the whole time they're like, oh, we're going to release these Epstein things. You're keeping the government shut down, so you don't have to release these files. Immediately open the government. Tim Burchart's like, unanimous consent. Can we all do it? Democrats are like, nope, we're not. Parliamentarians like, well, I have to have unanimous consent. So kind of called their bluff. Well, Trump just called their bluff too. Now that the Democrats are using the Epstein hoax involving Democrats, not Republicans, to try to deflect from their disastrous shutdown and all of their failures, I will be asking Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice, together with our great patriots at the FBI, to investigate Jeffrey Epstein's involvement and relationship with Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, Reid Hoffman, JP Morgan, Chase, and many other people and institutions to determine what is going on with them and him. This is another Russia scam with all the arrows pointing to the Democrats. Records show that these men and many others spent large portions of their life with Epstein and on his island. Stay tuned. So when this initial, Epstein emails got released and all the Trump ones that he was involved in got released, it took a little while for people to kind of cipher through it.
Is this the first mention of Bill Clinton from Trump?
No, he's like, Bill Clinton's going to have a lot of trouble for being on the island during the debate. It's like, he's been calling it out for a long time. It's very difficult to believe that Trump has somehow not been on top of the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. Now, I think there's some fairness in the question. Is he covering up for other politicians or things like that are useful to him? That wouldn't surprise me at all. I read through some of the emails that Jeffrey Epstein exchanged with his lawyers when weeks before he died in prison. And Epstein didn't think that what he did was that serious. He was, again, every criminal downplays their crime, right? So he's downplaying his crime. And I hate to use the phrase he used, but essentially these girls were coming into his home and leaving on their own accord. They were not kidnapped. Nobody was, now that doesn't mean that wasn't happening. It's just those are not the people that we're hearing from. Right. He was basically saying you're essentially getting a massage parlor type service in my parlor. Okay. So we'll see. But a couple things about this. These documents are about to get released. The moment that a criminal probe gets opened up, all the documents that can be released will not be released. So some people are saying, this is just another cover up. And it's also going to the Southern District of New York, which is like where good cases go to die. Yeah. Right? So what's happening here? Is this them covering up by putting this stuff into the criminal system? Does this then prevent disclosure?
Does this mean Trump is getting absorbed by the smoke monster?
Well, who knows? Who knows?
Okay.
I am at a point where
Democrats want you to forget all about the
I trust Trump in this regard.
Well, we have to. I mean, we don't really have a choice. And I'm really hoping that we're not getting abused because of that.
Yeah, I think Trump is trying to do what he's got to do. That's my opinion. And
it's mine as well, especially if you look at the fruits of what he's been doing.
Yeah, he has to.
It's hard to see it if you don't look at the fruits.
Keep in mind, this guy's accomplished a lot considering there's still town council members out there stuffing ballots. Imagine what they've done at the federal level. Okay, so on top of that, this weekend, he finally came out and officially broke ranks with Marjorie Taylor Greene in stunning fashion. So I want to get to this because this is absolutely incredible here. Again, his feed is...
While you're looking for that, can you talk about what their primary beef has been this whole time? I mean, I just don't really get it.
Between Marjorie Taylor Greene and Donald Trump? So the issue has been...
It seems like there's always been like base friction between them.
Well, the issue has been over Israel and foreign involvement and has been over Epstein. And now she's touting the affordability. Which is very much kind of what the Democrat, that's the only way they're attacking is affordability. Well, Trump didn't cause the affordability crisis and he can't lower the price of beef in 2 seconds. You know what I mean? So that's been an issue. And he's also, she's done a lot of little things that have been kind of undermined him, kind of chopped him off at the legs. Probably the biggest one, a lot of people were circulating pictures of Marjorie Taylor Greene at the press conference with Thomas Massey talking about Epstein, and in the background's all these pictures of Trump with Epstein. Epstein's a pedo, and it's like, if you're such a huge supporter, you probably shouldn't stand in front of the signs.
Just a bad look.
Yeah, really bad look. So Trump said this. He said, I am withdrawing my support and endorsement of Congressman Marjorie Taylor Greene of the great state of Georgia. Over the past few weeks, despite my creating record achievements for our country, including a total and complete victory on the shutdown, closed borders, low taxes, no men and women's sports or transgender for everyone, ending DEI, stopping Biden's record-setting inflation, biggest regulation cuts in history, stopping 8 wars, rebuilding our military, being respected by every country in the world as opposed to being the laughingstock that we were just 12 months ago, having trillions of dollars, record-setting, invested in the USA, and having created the hottest country anywhere in the world from being a dead country just 12 months ago, and so much more. All right. All I see wacky Marjorie do is complain, complain, complain. It seemed to all begin when I sent her a poll stating that she should not run for senator. There you have it. The personal desire, right? Personal ambition or governor. She was at 12% and didn't have a chance unless, of course, she had my endorsement, which she wasn't about to get. She was told many people She has told many people that she is upset and I don't return her phone calls anymore. With 219 congressmen, men and women, 53 U.S. senators, 24 cabinet members, almost 200 countries, and otherwise normal life to lead, I can't take a ranting lunatic's call every day. I understand that wonderful conservative people are thinking about primarying Marjorie in her district of Georgia, and they too are fed up with her and her antics. And if the right person runs, they will have my complete and unyielding support. She has gone far left, even doing The View with their low IQ Republican hating anchors. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again. Wow. Wow. Now, Marjorie has really been pushing this. I'm not Make America Great Again as much as I'm America First and America Always. That's great. Sounds good. I would appreciate it if we would stop having to pay for wars overseas. So if we could get that resolved, that'd be great.
I did hear her say one thing. She said something, and this is the first time I ever heard this. I heard Maiha versus Maha, and Maha always has to be, before Maiha. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense, but...
Make Israel great again.
Yeah,
make
I was like, oh, okay.
So then Trump goes on to say, Marjorie traitor Greene is a disgrace to our Republican Party. He goes on to say, Indiana's decided they don't want to do redistricting because, they don't want the Democrats to do it. They're doing it, dork. Like, that was the point, you ding dong. They were going to do it anyways. So he goes on, wacky Marjorie traitor Brown. Remember, Greene turns to Brown where there is rot involved. Wow. Is working overtime to try and portray herself as a victim when in actuality, she is the cause of all her own problems. The fact is nobody cares about this traitor to our country. Now, in a world where we're getting ready to prosecute some traitors, this is big words being thrown around. Okay. Yeah. Now, Lynn Wood, way back in the day, called out Marjorie Taylor Greene early.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. He called her a communist, said she just wants to go play the game. She just wants to go play the game and be a part of it. That's all it is.
Should have been paying closer attention.
Yeah. So he goes on to just post thing after thing, link, people talking about Marjorie, for example. Let's see if we can find. He just posts other people. Marjorie, we are ready to vote against you. You've turned on Trump. Blah blah blah.
So now she's wacky and a traitor.
Marjorie traitor Brown. The green turns brown with rot. Now, this is the kind of stuff that she's been doing this last week, making a lot of hits on MSNBC, CNN. And again, she's saying the things they want to hear. She's starting to get the play. It starts to make you go, she's making a move. She's trying to break off on her own. She's trying to get the independent vote, the moderate left, right? There's something working here.
I would like to say humbly, I'm sorry.
She's made her whole career on being super extreme.
Part
and
now she's going to apologize for being a part of the Republican Party. Is that what she's going to say?
Say that again.
Is she going to apologize for doing, Republican Party work?
You're going to basically hear that. Yeah.
Okay.
But I wanted to you were switching screens back and forth. You were like, oh. Okay. We're going to listen to him here.
Toxic politics. It's very bad for our country. And it's been something I've thought about a lot, especially since Charlie Kirk was assassinated, is that I'm only responsible for myself and my own words and actions. And I am committed, and I've been working on this a lot lately, to put down the knives in politics. I really just want to see people be kind to one another, and we need to figure out a new path forward that is focused on the American people, because as Americans, no matter what side of the aisle we're on, we have far more in common than we have differences. Yeah. And we need to be able to respect each other with our disagreements.
Yes. We as peasants have been saying that for a long time. We have more in common than we have against. We have to live here, right? But
can't we play like a hot clip of her just going crazy for hours?
We could. In fact, I had a clip with her going crazy on Sharia law, blah, blah, blah. Ilhan Omar needs to be deported. And then she's like, Ilhan Omar is great. She told people not to talk bad about the president. And then she's like, no one's ever talked to me about Sharia law at a town hall. It's not really a threat to our nation. You're like, dude. So here's another one of her talking about Nancy Pelosi. And again, the paradigm, she's now anchored in D.C. She's been there for going on 6 years. Okay. She's been to the cocktail party. She survived the first 2 years on no committee assignments. She jammed up Nancy Pelosi. Cannot forget that. She did a good job. She defended the January 6ers. She took Trump and the MAGA movement on her back while Trump was out of power. You cannot forget that, right? But what you're going to see here is the Marjorie Taylor Greene that we love and the Marjorie Taylor Greene that we're starting to go, did the swamp get you? Okay. And nothing better than an example of Nancy Pelosi. Now, what I'm going to show you after this is going to prove what Lynn Wood accused her of. She just wants to get hers.
That's how bad Nancy Pelosi is. I wish her well in her retirement. That's how bad Nancy Pelosi is. She's the most failed leader, the worst Speaker of the House in American history. I'm very impressed at her ability to get things done. I wish we could get things done for our party like Nancy Pelosi was able to deliver for her party. So I wish her well in her retirement.
It's a crime punishable by death, is what treason is. Nancy Pelosi is guilty of treason, and we want her out of our government.
It is destroying everyone that gets sucked into this great deception.
So Dilly Beam, thanks for that. That's the kind of stuff where we're like, what? Okay, well, here's the receipts. This comes from Laura Loomer. Marjorie Taylor Greene is using her campaign fundraising to enrich her daughter. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she has funneled over $113,000 in staff payroll from her campaign fund since March 2024. So just this year, even though her daughter lives out of state in Yoakum, Texas. According to FEC, Congressman Major Taylor Greene has paid her daughter Taylor Greene Robinson $113,000 plus over the last 17 months under the description of staff payroll and $12,000 for fundraising commissions, even though her daughter lives in Texas in a house that she and her husband, Silas Robinson, closed on in April of 2024.
Well, a lot of people work remotely.
Yeah. How can MTG justify sending over $113 of her campaign funds to her daughter who doesn't even live in Georgia? So she goes on to the median income in Georgia's congressional district is $71,000. Daughter's receiving a whole lot more than that. So she shows some of those receipts. And again, it's like, well, okay. But then, so not only do you have that, you also have the fact that her net worth has gone from $700,000 when she joined Congress to $23 million, I think is the number I saw. Years. Yeah. Now, again, she wants deportations until it's not good for her.
As a conservative and as a business owner in the construction industry and as a realist, I can say we have to do something about labor, and that needs to be a smarter plan than just rounding up every single person and deporting them just like that.
Right.
So, and I'm going to get pushback on that, but I'm just living in reality from here on out.
Yeah.
And if anybody's mad at me for saying the truth, then I'm sorry.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, ladies and gentlemen, our next president. Sorry, JD Vance. Well, I mean, these people are saying it. I go to dinner parties.
Yeah, I heard you.
Well, by the way,
I heard you on Joe Rogan.
So that's a nice safe place with Seth Dillon there,
Tim Dillon,
sorry, to be like, but hey, listen, you either deport them or you take them, right? So now that I'm, we got to do something about this labor. I'm in the construction industry.
I thought I saw her talking about getting rid of H-1B.
Exactly. But then on the other hand, it's like, but we need this cheap labor. Do you see how you start to go, whoa. Yeah. Now that you're in there and you have some vested interest, you got some stocks, you got your, you want to make sure you got the cheap construction labor. You're getting those government bids. Your daughter's on the dole. Can't slow that down. She just bought a house.
Well, clearly she's either schizophrenic or bipolar or both. I just like, what the heck is going on?
Or as Vince McMahon says, this is politics as usual. Like,
she's just finding herself, and now she's going to live in reality. Where were you living?
Yeah. 1 year ago, I went on record. This is Harrison Floyd. Who is Harrison Floyd? He was down in Georgia, and he started the organization Blacks for Trump. And he got wrapped up in Trump's 2020 election indictment in Georgia under Fannie Willis. He was the only black man indicted, and he's also the only one that went to jail. He went to jail for 28 days while he tried to make bond on a nonviolent paper crime with 30 other co-defendants that didn't go to jail, and he's just the black guy with Blacks for Trump.
Oh, boy.
But what did he know? He knew that they had been doing some election fraud. Well, over a year ago, he says, I went on record about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I said she was playing both sides. right? Because he's like, hey, you got to pick a side here. Could not be trusted and considered running against her. Then all of a sudden, Fannie tried to revoke my bond. What do you think about MTG now? So he goes in and talks about that in that article. It is another one of those interesting things. I can't sit and be like, I don't like Marjorie. I think she's great. But I have thought in the last few weeks, why are you doing this? And now I'm like, oh, I think she's trying to survive what she perceives as might be some kind of thing. The other thing that I have to mention too, and this is important to understand, there's a difference between Boomer MAGA and Gen Z, Gen Alpha, Millennial MAGA. Gen Z, Gen Alpha, Millennial MAGA are culturally MAGA. They're Christian. They're anti-Sharia law, anti-immigration, anti-anything foreign, right? And they're very into the culture war as far as civilization. Boomer MAGA are economic populists. They want to preserve their home equity. They're totally okay with gay marriage. They lost that battle 15, 20 years ago. You know what I mean? They're a different, lots of Boomer MAGAs are not extremely religious. That's a little bit of a difference there. Marjorie kind of leans towards this other side, except for when it comes to her businesses, I guess. I don't know. All right. In other good news, Target, along with Walmart, is dropping their Christmas holiday prices.
Target is dropping prices ahead of the holidays. The company announcing reduced costs on 3,000 food, beverage, and essential items starting this month. Target is also bringing back its Thanksgiving meal at its lowest price ever. The deal gives customers a complete dinner with all your holiday favorites for less than $5 per person.
Whoa.
Target is dropping.
Get out of town. Trump's winning. So that's good news.
Yeah.
Walmart says that they have a lower food cost. Now, I heard someone critique, yeah, but that's 2 years ago, I had 22 items in the basket. Now it only has 15. Maybe. I don't know. Who cares, man? We all care.
Bro.
Carlita says Trump has to go after the big four beef cartel. We have antitrust legislation via the Sherman Act. Yeah, it sounds like they're doing something on there. Scott Bessent was on TV this week, and I didn't pull the clip because it wasn't important enough. But apparently these illegal migrants coming up from the South brought their cattle with them. Did you hear about this?
No.
Apparently we've got the screw worm disease that's come into our cattle and our cattle supply, and it came with some migrants did bring cows across the border, apparently. I don't know.
Migrating cows.
Maybe they get more for the hanging weight. Part of me thought, I don't know if they actually brought the cows. They might have brought the meat. You know what I mean? But either way, he said cattle across the border. Okay. But we're dealing with so there's a bunch of factors when it comes to beef. Sounds like they're doing what they can. I mean, it's kind of like the when chicken prices went up, that was 100% because they had a bird flu and they culled the herd kind of without telling everybody. And, it takes a little while to get those little birds populations back up. So that happened. Target announced they're dropping prices. Simultaneously, the Fed came out with a new study.
Oh.
This is a brand new study, and for the last 100+ years since the central bank was created, they've operated on the assumption that tariffs create higher prices and taxes. Turns out, after studying this and looking at 150 years of history all across the world, a sweeping new analysis of tariff policy spanning 150 years suggests that the economic establishment may have fundamentally misunderstood how tariffs affect prices and employment. A finding with profound implications for understanding President Donald Trump's trade policy and the proper response by the Federal Reserve. Researchers at the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco examined major tariff changes from 1870 through 2020 across the United States, the United Kingdom, and France. Their conclusion challenges the conventional wisdom that dominated economic policy. In recent years, when countries raise tariffs, prices actually fall, not rise.
Crazy.
Go figure. We find that a tariff hike raises unemployment and lowers inflation. The anchors, Regis Barnchon and Isaiah Singh, wrote in their working paper released this month, this goes against the predictions of standard models whereby CPI inflation could go up in response to higher tariffs. The finding arrives at the policy charged at a politically charged moment, as the Trump administration has implemented tariff increasing averaging 18% on U.S. imports in 2025. Mainstream economists warned of a significant inflationary spiral. The Federal Reserve officials have repeatedly said they have hesitated to cut interest rates because they expect tariffs to push up prices. More recently, several Fed officials have said that they think the central bank should not cut interest rates further due to what they believed would be inflationary pressures. but the historical evidence suggests those concerns may have rested on shaky theoretical foundations not backed by evidence. I want to read that again.
Well, it was backed by the Biden administration. That's what it was backed.
Your finances are being ruined based on shaky theoretical foundations not backed by evidence, as suggested by the San Francisco Fed after looking at 150 years of tariff policy. So they made all these monetary decisions, screwing you out of a house and my friends out of jobs, you know what I mean, on shaky theoretical foundations and spiraling the entire economy. The tarifflation story was upside down. The researchers' approach was ingenious. Rather than trying to parse recent decades of limited tariff variation, they exploited massive swings of tariff policy across centuries, using these shifts as a natural experiment to understand cause and effect. The key insight came from an American political history. Throughout the 19th century and into the 1930s, Republicans and Democrats held fundamentally opposite views about tariffs. Republicans, representing industrial interests in the North, favored high tariffs for protection. Oh, golly gee wilkers, wouldn't you figure the people that are usually trusted with the economy, the people who build industry and actually raise the tide so all boats raise and eliminate the scourge of poverty, right? Our poor people are fat, not skinny. We have the opposite. We have this abundant poverty. You are not poor in resources. You are poor of mental thought. Okay. That's the problem in America. So they're like, oh, hey, turns out it works amazing. And guess what? Republicans have always favored tariffs because they understand how business actually works. If you're going to say tariffs are a tax, fire your stockbroker, fire your real estate commissioner, fire the guy that's taking a fee, right? If it's not a direct value add on the product you're buying, it's a tax. Every license, everything is a tax if you're going to go down that road, right? Republicans understand this. Business understand this. There's no difference between a tax and a fee or a tax and a surcharge. It's an added tax. I pay taxes to not just the government. I pay taxes to the distributor. I pay taxes to, does it make sense?
Yeah.
It's just extra money. The key, the partisan divide creates something economists rarely find, a quasi-random variation in policy. When recession hits, the political response to higher unemployment depends on which party was in power, not on any consistent economic logic. Republicans would raise tariffs to protect their constituents. Democrats would lower them for the same reason. Since recessions isn't that funny? It's so funny.
Oh, man, that's so telling.
Listen, Donald Trump accuses people like Thomas Massey of being a Republican or Democrat, blah, blah, blah. Right. This is why the Democrats want the lower tariffs. Okay. The Democrats are concerned about cheap labor. They're plantation owners. Republicans have always been concerned about everybody collectively. The idea that the Republicans are the country club party is silly. They're the business owner party, and the business owner wants to make sure he has employees, and he'd like them to be happy.
Well, they're the farmer party too,
Yeah, the farmer party too. Exactly. So any Republican that gets out there and goes, tariffs are a tax. Oh, they're a Democrat. They're a Democrat.
Yeah.
That's what this is telling you. Like, that's the history of these two things. Since recessions did not favor one party over another, there was no general relation between the direction of the tariff changes and the state of the economy, the authors explained. They meant this could use straightforward statistical methods to isolate tariff effects without worrying that policymakers were adjusting tariffs in response to economic conditions. They also identified 8 major tariff changes explicitly motivated by long-term political considerations rather than cyclical pressures, from the McKinley tariff of 1890 to the recent Trump tariffs of 2018, and analyzed those separately. Both approaches yielded the same unsurprising results, the inflation puzzle. Using a standard economic model, researchers estimated the effect of tariff shocks on inflation and unemployment. A roughly 4 percentage point increase in average tariffs lowered inflation by about 2 percentage points, while raising unemployment by about 1 percentage point, they found. The results held across different time periods. Whether examining the first wave of globalization before 1913, the interwar period, or the modern post-World War II era, the pattern remained consistent. Higher tariffs correlated with lower prices and weaker economic activity. The pattern contradicts standard economic theory, which predicts that tariffs would raise business costs and lead to higher consumer prices. Instead, the researchers observed tariffs increases associated with both lower inflation and higher unemployment. A combination, the authors say, is more consistent with a negative demand shock than a supply side increase. These findings point towards tariff shock acting through an aggregate demand channel, the authors conclude. However, the researchers did not identify the specific mechanism. They note that when tariffs appear to act as an aggregate demand shocks, when tariffs increased, stock prices fell and market volatility spiked, which could reflect uncertainty dampening economic sentiment. They also note that tariffs could depress asset prices, which could then depress demand. But they stop short of proving this is what actually happens. So basically what we're saying here is the money shifts from the corporate balance sheet to the people. That's what happens. So if you're big business, big plantation, right? The Democrats have become that. You want the big stock price. If you're Main Street Republican, you want the big Main Street value. You don't care about the corporate value. You know what I mean? Interesting. We provide suggested evidence that an aggregate demand channel can be at play, but an important avenue for future research is to understand the theoretical, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, it just goes on. Basically, these guys have had it wrong.
Jeez, that was a long post.
Yeah, sorry. 150 years, these guys have had it wrong. They've been guessing, right? And Trump, this year, turning things around. Now, some of these numbers, I start to wonder if he's pulling them out of thin air. But then people, well, when you add up all these deals and they're spread out over 10 years, what are the next 10 years going to look like if we have $20 trillion dumping into our economy? And here's the thing. If $20 trillion are committed, that means $20 trillion is going to be financed to get those projects started pretty quick.
Investing in America, $20 trillion. No country's ever done anywhere even near that, like a fraction of that. Biden did less than $1 trillion in 4 years. I did 20 trillion. We're going to do over 17 trillion in 8 months. By the time we end, we could do over $20 trillion. There's never, in China, no matter where you go, there's never been anything like it. We are building up something that's unbelievable. And a big part of that are the tariffs, because they don't want to have to pay the tariffs because it's so unsustainable that they come and build the pharmaceuticals and the chips and all the things. They're coming into the United States and they're building them. It's a miracle what's happening. We are building the greatest country in the world, economically, greater than we've ever been before. Investing in awesome. America.
Wow.
So while Marjorie Taylor Greene is over there, we need to lower prices of turkey. Trump's like, I'm making sure your kids can have a job. Right. This is the problem with where we get in these little pickles as a country is you want micro solutions to your microeconomic problems in a macroeconomic way. You want someone to come in and give you benefits now, and you don't recognize that the game board has been set for your failure, right? You've got to make macro changes, like getting investment to come into the United States instead of the United States constantly sending its investments outside the United States. 17 trillion? That's a lot. Biden didn't even get $1 trillion of investment coming into the United States in 4 years. And in Trump's first calendar year, he's got that slated. What will it look like after 2 or 3 years? Could be huge. On top of that, talking about this inflation thing, we played a clip last week where the Fed board governor, or one of the chairmen, not the chairman, but one of the board governors, was talking about how the deportation is causing deflation. Right. It's basically helping with the inflation issue because you're opening up housing supply, which means all the prices don't have to rise.
It lowers the demand side.
Yeah. Now, Ed Dowd, who's someone we've played a couple times before, an economist that I respect and appreciate his input, is talking here about essentially how they are starting to see the real estate market kind of break open a little bit. Prices are starting to slump. Now, for boomers, that's like, stop, I don't want to hear that. But for people that are in the market trying to buy, that's like a necessity. And these guys, again, two economists, chit chat and talking shop, were unaware of the conditions that have been happening the last 4 years that might have caused an artificial bubble in the real estate market.
Now they're saying, no, you were right. We're seeing things roll over quite quickly in the housing market, especially closer to the border.
I think you were exactly right. And I wasn't skeptical of it, but I had to think on it for a minute. So I never thought about that mass wave of 20 million people flooding in, being given all kinds of support. But I was shocked to find in the case of PrimeLend that they were lending to people without social security numbers or any credit history. That's how crazy it had gotten. I didn't realize we'd gotten that far.
Correct. And I'm sure we're going to find that out also.
So in all of my analysis, I just assumed the rules were being followed and there wouldn't be a high rate of default. And I mean, I couldn't imagine that someone could come across the border and then automatically be shoved into the housing market. You thought wrong. They've clearly had a preference for non-citizens.
Yeah.
Clearly.
You got a pulse?
Because as a citizen, you ain't getting a home loan without a social security number and a credit history.
Yeah,
but if you're non-citizen, we waive all the requirements.
Just go ahead and try to apply. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Housing market. There were probably some homes bought by illegals with no credit, nothing. You got to remember that, when you bring 20 million people in, I mean, it's a lot of people. And it happened super fast, and they were given all sorts of government goodies. And there was an ecosystem around this illegal, logistical, willful operation done by the government, and we were running 8% deficits. So we still don't have a handle on how much of our treasure was given to these people that then they turned around and put back into the economy in the form of grocery spending, goods spending. If you came from Guatemala and you came and you were given a social security number and some handouts and some SNAP benefits and some rental income. Any money you got, you immediately spent because you never had money in your life. So the multiplier effect on illegal immigrant is much higher than Joe's six-pack. And, even with all that juice, and we've estimated, between what the government agencies gave directly and what was washed through the NGOs, which is also, we know about the NGOs, that's just a washing mechanism for fraud. We've estimated anywhere from 500 billion to 1.5 trillion was pumped into the economy during the Biden administration, and that went straight into the corporation's profit.
Now
we need that juice.
You're right.
So the Biden administration juiced the economy by basically getting money into the hands of illegals and having them spend them at the local bodega, right? On top of the NGOs that funneled it in. So the spreadsheet looks really good. Meanwhile, you can't find a job. Right. So Trump's taking the opposite effect. Now I'm going to bring 21 trillion, but I'm not going to print the money. It's already been printed, so it won't touch inflation. That's what people don't realize. What hurts inflation is when you buy a house, when you apply for a new credit card, when you pass a new bill with new money attached to it, right? It's new money. If you can recirculate old money, that's different. When someone gets a loan to buy a house, that money that they're buying the house with did not exist prior to them buying it. That's the dirty secret. Banks do not lend out money. They buy promissory notes.
What
from
does
you.
that new money do to all the existing money?
It dilutes it.
Oh,
dilutes it.
What is that called? It's also called
inflation.
Oh,
inflation.
Come on,
now,
people, connect the dots.
Now, Arthur Laffer of the Lafferty curve, he talks about this, about why high taxes make people quit working, right? So not only do taxes cause inflation, but they also cause disincentivization.
Oh, okay.
If you tax people who work and you pay people who don't work, do not be surprised if you have a lot of people not working.
Yes.
We tax speeders on the highways to get them to stop speeding. True? Yes. We tax cigarettes to get people to stop smoking. Why then do we tax people who earn income? Why do we tax people who employ other people? Why do we tax companies that make wonderful products at low cost and make lots of profits? Now, we don't tax them to get them to stop earning income. We don't tax them to stop employing other people. We don't tax them to make lousy products at high cost. But don't for a moment think that the same consequences don't befall taxes on income, employment, and profits have the same effect as they do on speeders and on smokers. If you
it de-incentivizes desire to increase your personal well-being because you get it for free, which is one of the reasons they had 29 states that replied to, I think, USDA as far as SNAP benefits to audit the rolls. And that's where they found 500,000 people getting it twice, thousands of dead people on the rolls, as well as other fraud. Blue states refused to participate in the audit. So that's just from the red states. I will imagine the blue states like California, New York, Illinois way,
way
are probably
higher
going to
numbers.
they're probably by themselves going to match all, like there's probably 500,000 double recipients in California alone.
Yes,
right.
yes.
Most likely. So because of this, they were so stunned during the shutdown when they weren't paying SNAP as they started to look at the program apparently for the first time that they thought, you know what? We're going to make everybody apply again.
That everyone who's on SNAP is going to have to reapply. Now, this happened, of course, when the government shut down and there was, you know...
You mean Aunt Maria Visuela isn't going to automatically get her SNAP benefits? She's going to have to actually go provide her proof of citizenship to get it. Do you see what they just did here? They just knocked off hundreds of millions of people off SNAP, and they're like, oh, by the way, reapply. And you know that whole have to be a citizen thing?
The SNAP benefits were in not getting out to the people.
For 42 million Americans.
For 42 million. Well, we
people
thought Americans.
inside the country.
People is probably the better. Yep. People. And so Brooke Rollins, we had her on and we had a great conversation with her where she said, hey, listen, this whole SNAP benefits conversation around the shutdown has sort of pulled the curtain back, and people are seeing how many people are on SNAP that aren't actually citizens, and they're going to have to reapply. What do you make of this? I think it's very popular, especially if you go online and look at what people think. I think it's a popular initiative to say these benefits are for Americans. Is she going to be able to accomplish this? Is she going to have some legal challenges to it? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm sure. You know, everything that comes from the Trump administration, I just track it and see how long it takes for it to land in the Supreme Court. So there are going to be legal challenges. But the thing is, most of these programs with SNAP are administered by the states. And a lot of the states do have verification programs where people have to update every 3 to 6 months or, you know, really establish that they got some kind of need. But maybe she's proposing something at the federal level that would then have a federal component for, you know, applying and proving that you actually need this. Because I think all of us are compassionate Americans. Like, we want our fellow Americans to get help when they need it. And we've all known people, if not our own families, that have walked through these periods of needing this kind of help. But Secretary Rollins also said that she found there were 186,000 checks or SNAP benefits going out to people who were dead. So if that's accurate, that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg. And there are other problems with this program too.
Reapply. All of you reapply. Again, this all ties back into what Elon Musk said about the Social Security database, that they don't clean it up, and it's a free pass. If they ping the system and the Social Security shows as live, verified, boom, it's an open door to all.
Clearinghouse is what he said.
As a clearinghouse, yes. So this was another thing, you know, again, paying people not to work. Maybe. We'll hit a little refresh here. We'll get it going. Here we go.
If you're getting approximately 85% of your needs met with food stamps, rent subsidy, Medicare insurance, or Medicaid insurance, if you're getting 85% of your needs met, and then somebody came to you, an employer said, how would you like to work for 40 hours? And you're like, wait, work 40 hours to get 100% or do nothing for 85%. So you're telling me I'm going to work 40 hours
for 15%,
for only an additional 15% more than I currently have. And you know what people said? I'll stick with 85.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was now there was no way to get them out of that. And so now it almost like imploded. So now you have people that are like, why would I want to work for 15% more?
I ran into this in prison. I'll never forget, this black guy was like, I ain't ever worked a day in my life. Why would I work in here? I don't want to work. They can't make me work. I ain't ever worked in my life. And he just going on and on about how he's never had a job. He's never going to get a job because they'll pay you. They'll pay you. He kept saying that, like, they'll pay you. Your job is to get benefits. In the past, we've played clips of a mother who didn't want her kid to go to school because then they wouldn't be able to get their double welfare benefits. I'll take care of you. I'll take care of you. I had a clip this morning that I forgot to save, so I couldn't play it today, but it was a guy calling his insurance company. So he went in to get medical care. They sent him the bill, and it was, $900. And then because he had no insurance. So he sent his insurance information and he got the bill again and he owed $1,500. And he was like, whoa, I sent you my insurance. So he calls up the place, and this is where the video comes in. And he's like, well, sir, the cash price is $900, but then you have insurance, the price is $1,500. That's your copay. And he's like, well, how much is the total price? I was like, $5,000. He's like, well, can I pay the less amount, the cash? And they're like, no, you have insurance. He's like, yeah, but I don't want to use it. And he's like, well, you have to because you have insurance. So it's $1,500. He's like, but it's cheaper if I don't have insurance. So just take the insurance off. He's like, no, sir, we already know you have insurance. He's like, oh, what if I cancel it? Well, you already had it when you got the coverage. And he's like, oh, so I had to cancel my insurance before I got to the hospital to get the care. And he's like, so insurance is more expensive than the cash care. And the guy's like, maybe, sir, I don't know, but you have insurance, it's $1,500, right? And I'm like, by the way, that's true. It's way cheaper to do a Christian health share or medical share plan than any insurance product. Okay. It's stupid. We do that all the time because we're cash payers. It's like way cheaper to do cash pay than insurance. Cheaper than your premiums. Like it's ridiculous. Sean Duffy from the Department of Transportation. For the first time ever, I saw a recruiting commercial for the Merchant Marines. Oh. And this was so cool. I had to play it because I was like, this is legit. So if anybody out there knows anybody like young that's looking for a legit career,
even with a little bit of interest, this is good.
What's up, Fenway? Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy here to tell you about the one and only United States Merchant Marine Academy and the incredible leaders who are built here from their campus in beautiful Kings Point, New York. This American institution has been producing leaders of the global maritime industry for over 8 decades. Whether it's supporting our troops or keeping our store shelves stocked with essentials for American families, the Merchant Marine Academy keeps America's economy moving. Our graduates go on to make up the best of our armed forces. Each service branch recognizes it instantly. When a Kings Pointer joins, they're gaining one of America's finest. Kings Pointers go on to be Air Force pilots, Navy sailor, Marine warriors, and even NASA astronauts. Thanks to President Trump, shipbuilding and America's maritime dominance is making a comeback. That's why I'm giving the Merchant Marine Academy a much-needed upgrade. We are prioritizing innovation and building cutting-edge facilities. We need it more than ever. And we need you, the next generation of leaders, interested in a dynamic career that will take you all over the world. You'll spend a year at sea before you even graduate. And starting salaries when you get your diploma is $120,000. The Academy's motto is acta non verba, deeds, not words. If you're interested in sailing, engineering, and serving your country, then Kings Point is the place for you. Learn, serve, and lead with us. God bless America, and God bless the United States Merchant Marine Academy. Now, Pointers, go kick some Coast Guard butt.
That's pretty fun. Oh, that's fun. All right, let's go ahead and jump over to private, and we're going to be talking about Jeffrey Epstein. I know everybody's favorite topic.
Oh, boy.
We're going to be talking about Zelensky for just a moment. And yeah, we'll touch on a couple of other things like Seattle's commercial vacancy rate. Holy cow. And yeah, so we'll be jumping over to private, and we'll talk to you, the rest of you guys, tomorrow. The Unoffendables. See you in a second.